I'm done now. I have one more thing to tell you. I would like to introduce our next speaker. We have an absolutely phenomenal speaker coming up here now. It's Guy Kawasaki, who is a very famous blogger, and that's how many of you know him. He writes books. He used to be an Apple evangelist. He started the Garage.com business, and they had the funniest T-shirts I've ever seen. Because they had T-shirts for kids where it said, "My parents are entrepreneurs. My first letters were I and P and O." So, Guy is just an expert on how to do things, how to simplify things to big impact, the architecture participation. He created a lot of what we are now saying is open source because he invented the whole community style thing. And I know that he's as crazy as we are. If you send him an email, he will respond. And he gets thousands of emails, but he just never lets the entrepreneurs down. So that's why we're so super proud to have Guy here today. So welcome on stage, Guy.
You're going to speak with me?
Should I?
No, you can stay up here.
I'll go down.
We'll have a panel.
It's your show.
Martin, one thing you should learn about Americans is you never give the reward before they perform. Just quite frankly, right now you have nothing on me. I could walk out of here. But I am always on vacation. I am impatient, and I don't know what I want. So I'm European, Asian, and American. Good morning, my name is Guy Kawasaki. And one thing, I noticed a lot of people are using Macintoshes in this audience, right? Is it true? How many of you use Macs? See, that's a lot higher than who I usually speak to. So the rest of you are oppressed. Right? I'm going to give you a little bit of my background. I found out I only had half an hour. I was going to rip through this speech, but I guess it's proof of one of the concepts I have in this speech about giving quick PowerPoint presentations. I worked in the Mac division. I was Apple's software evangelist. My job was to evangelize the computer, make sure people created software and hardware products for it. So this was in 83 to 87. I worked for Steve Jobs, which was, to use the word loosely, an interesting experience. In the Mac division, we had special rules because we worked for Steve, unlimited supplies of, I just got more time, unlimited supplies of fresh orange juice. On Thursdays and Fridays, we had massage therapists come into our cubicles and give us back rubs. This was before sexual harassment was an issue in the workplace. In fact, back then, sexual harassment was a good thing. Unlike any other part of our computer, we could fly first class for any flight over 2 hours. My definition of that rule was that the 2 hours begins from the moment you leave your apartment. So I flew first class from Monterey to San Francisco and San Francisco to Monterey all the time. A lot has been said about those times. It was a very, very interesting time, not unlike what you're going through now. It really was an interesting time, sort of an open feeling of computing, empowering people to be more creative and more productive. However, I will tell you that the Macintosh division was arguably the greatest collection of egomaniacs in the history of Silicon Valley. We treated the Apple II people very badly. You know, back then, Macintosh was being finished, and Apple II was already shipping boatloads of computers. Apple II was making all the money, and we were spending all the money. If you looked at the Apple P&L back then, Apple II was P and Macintosh was L. So, but we were very bad people. We would not let Apple II division people into the Macintosh division buildings. Can you imagine that? Kind of the absolute antithesis of open source. So imagine you're working for Apple in the Apple II division. You can't go in a building because you don't work for that division. And then, to exacerbate the situation, imagine that you were paying for the building and you can't go in. That's the situation. So, the Macintosh division was the butt of a very good joke from the Apple II division, which is how many Macintosh division employees does it take to screw in a light bulb? The answer is 1. The Macintosh division employee holds up the light bulb and expects the universe to revolve around him. After working in the Mac division, I started several software companies. I returned to Apple as an Apple fellow, so I've worked at Apple twice. We like to describe it as tours of duty, sort of like Vietnam or Iraq. We had 2 tours of duty at Apple Computer. And then I became a venture capitalist, which is what I am today, a venture capitalist. Looking for 2 guys in a garage, 2 gals in a garage, a guy and a gal in a garage. They can be straight or gay, we don't care. And when you're in California, for those of you who are not from California, you have to mention every possible permutation, otherwise you offend people. So that's why, and I can't just say we're looking for 2 guys in a garage anymore. You have to say all those things. And I will tell you, as a venture capitalist, one of the good IQ tests for an entrepreneur is, are you using MySQL? Because if they come in and they say, well, we need $1 million to buy compilers and tools, that's kind of a no-brainer, you know, see you later. That's a very good test. That's a good test for IQ and an entrepreneur. Now, early in my career, I watched many high-tech CEOs speak. And I will tell you that other than the ones that MySQL, pretty much they all suck. And not only do they suck, they are very rude people. They have no concept of time, of starting on time and ending on time. They will go forever if you let them. So not only do most high-tech CEOs suck as speakers, they also don't give you any indication of how much longer they will suck. So what I did is I adopted the top 10 format for all my speeches, so that when I'm on number 5, for example, you know that I'm halfway through sucking. I hope you don't think I suck, but in case you do, you can track progress through my speech. This speech is based on my experience as an Apple evangelist, as an entrepreneur, and as a venture capitalist. In a rare moment of Guy Kawasaki humility, please let me tell you that when you make a keynote speech, it's often tempting to cop this attitude that do as I did because I had a perfect career, I did everything right. I'll tell you, I did many things wrong in my career. So this speech reflects not only what I did right, but also what I did wrong. This is what you should do, not at all what I did. Okay? So the first slide, and I'm assuming, I have no idea whether you're on iMac or slides. You see slides there, right? Okay. The first thing that I learned about innovation is that what really motivates the great innovators is the desire to make meaning. That is, to change the world. If you talk to someone like Woz and ask him, why were you motivated? Was it the money so that you could sponsor festivals? What motivated you, Woz? He will tell you he wanted to make meaning, to make it so that people could use computers who didn't work for universities or large enterprises. He wanted to change the world. And I've noticed in my career that the entities that are founded to change the world, to make the world a better place, those are the ones that succeed. And of any audience, you should appreciate that. Because that's what this audience stands for, changing the world and making meaning. I'll tell you, as a venture capitalist, we often get entrepreneurs who come to us. If you ever need to pitch to a venture capitalist, I'll give you a piece of advice. Do not say you want to make money. That is understood. If you say you want to make money, I think the wrong things happen. For example, and the worst thing is you will attract the wrong kind of founding team. You will attract principally investment bankers, consultants, McKinsey graduates, those kinds of people, MBAs. And those are the 4 worst kinds of people to attract to a startup. Never say you want to make money. You say you want to make meaning. And one of the natural consequences of making meaning is, of course, being rewarded by the system and making money. I want to read to you from an ad. I think this is the most meaningful ad that I have ever seen. A woman is often measured by the things she cannot control. She is measured by the way her body curves or doesn't curve. By where she is flat or straight or round. She is measured by 36, 24, 36, and inches and ages and numbers. By all the outside things that don't ever add up to who she is on the inside. And so if a woman is to be measured, let her be measured by the things she can control. By who she is trying to become. I'm losing my mind. By who she is and who she is trying to become. Because as every woman knows, measurements are only statistics and statistics lie. That's a meaningful ad. So let's do a little role play here. I'll be the VP of Marketing of Nike. You be a potential customer. And I say to you, do you have $100?
Yeah.
You say yes. And I say, well, if you give me your $100, I will give you 2 pieces of cotton, leather, and rubber manufactured under somewhat controversial conditions. It's not exactly the Nike pitch. The Nike pitch is for 2 pieces of cotton, leather, rubber to stand for efficacy and power and meaning. That's what step 1 is for innovation, make meaning. The second step is to make a mantra. I strongly encourage you to do this, especially if you have MBAs pressuring you to create a mission statement, not a mantra. A mission statement is 50 or 60 words long. The way we do it here, there are many visitors in this audience, but I'll tell you how it's done in Silicon Valley, making a mission statement. First of all, it has to be done at an off-site. This off-site has to be at a hotel with a world-class golf course. Right now, the premier place to do this is the Ritz-Carlton Half Moon Bay. If you ever hear that MySQL is having an off-site at the Half Moon Bay, Ritz-Carlton, that's the time to start abandoning this platform. It's going to be 2 days. It's going to be the top 50, 60 employees in the company. You hire an outside meeting coordinator, facilitator, because nobody on the management team has any ability to lead or communicate, so you have to get outside talent. The first day is spent in team building exercises. You form these little teams of 5 or 6 people, now not from the same functional area. You're trying to build cross-functional teams. So there's one person from engineering, one person from production, one person from sales, one person from HR, one person from God knows what. And the facilitator, her name is Moonbeam. Meeting facilitators always are named Moonbeam or something like that. Moonbeam is not only a meeting facilitator, she is also a Lamaze instructor. Because the process of pushing out the mission statement is very similar to pushing out a baby. The first day, Moonbeam says, all right, all you groups have formed, each of you send up one person. That one person turns around, pulls up your arm, shuts your eyes, and fall backwards into the arms of your team because you're going to learn communication and trust. Holy kumbaya, here we go. The second day is spent in a smaller room. In that room is a pad of paper, and Moonbeam has a magic marking pen. And she says, all right, each of you here are going to help contribute to the creation of our mission statement. Because there's 60 of you here, each of you get to put one word in the mission statement. And at the end of this process, this mission statement is going to be good for the shareholders, for the customers, for the VARs. If HR is there, it's going to be good for the whales and the dolphins too. And you end up with this. This is an example, a real-world example. The mission of Wendy's is to deliver superior quality products and services for our customers and communities through leadership, innovation, and partnerships. I'm not making this up. This is the mission statement of Wendy's. Next time you go to Wendy's, you think about it. You're participating in leadership, innovation, and partnerships. The next time you go to Wendy's, ask Trixie or Biff, who's working at Wendy's, what is the mission of Wendy's? See if they can repeat that. I will bet you that not even the founder of Wendy's could repeat this mission statement. I know this is true because he's dead. The point here is that these kinds of mission statements are too long. They're not memorable. They're useless. I love Wendy's. Don't get me wrong. We have 4 children. The children outnumber the adults in my family. You know, we've gone from man to zone. If you want to use hockey terminology, the kids are always on the power play against us. We love fast food. In our house, French fries is considered a vegetable. Don't get me wrong, I love Wendy's, but this mission statement just doesn't cut it. If you want to be innovative, what I suggest is you get a mantra, 3 words, 2 words that explain why you exist. Why does your innovation exist? Wendy's could explain their whole reason for existence in 3 words. Healthy, fast food. Healthy, fast food. Somewhat of an oxymoron like Apple marketing, but healthy, fast food. Nike has a great customer slogan, just do it, but their mantra, the reason why they exist, is authentic athletic performance. FedEx has cars, vans, airplanes, and incredible IT infrastructure. FedEx can tell you that your package is on the 3rd shelf from the bottom on the left-hand side of Mohan, going south on 101 at Matilda Avenue in the 2nd lane from the right at 25 miles an hour. All of that is for peace of mind. And the 4th example is eBay. eBay stands for the democratization of commerce. So that one person making galls in the middle of Indiana can stand toe-to-toe with Walmart or Amazon on the internet. That's what that company is about. For example, using 2 or 3 words to explain why a company exists, why innovation exists, I'd like to suggest to you that you create a mantra for your organization. Why does it exist? If I haven't dissuaded you from creating mission statements, at least let me release a way that will minimize the expense and pain of creating this mission statement. All you need to do is go to the Dilbert Mission Statement Generator website. There's not even advertising on this website. And then you can find things like this. We exist to professionally build long-term, high-impact sources so that we may endeavor. I need to take a breath here. To synergistically leverage existing effective deliverables to stay competitive in tomorrow's world. That's a mission statement that you spend 2 days at the Ritz-Carlton Half Moon Bay with Moonbeam, or you pay McKinsey $25,000. That's what that mission statement is. All you need to do is go to the Dilbert Mission Statement Generator website. You know, Martin several times cited Goldman Sachs in his speech here. I have a friend who works at an investment bank, not Goldman Sachs. And he told me that that bank had an offsite, and at that offsite, one of the exercises was to create a mission statement for the bank. Each person was supposed to submit a mission statement, and then the group would vote on the mission statement that they liked the best. He couldn't think of one, so he got one from the Dilbert Mission Statement Generator website. He submitted it. It came in second. Came in second. This is why you should never, never work for an investment bank. The third thing is to set your parameters right. The parameter that I care about is that you jump to the next curve. Not that you do things 10% better or 15% better, but to do things 10 times better. That you are not a letter quality printer company who decides to introduce more typefaces next year. That you're a letter quality printer company that decides to get to the laser printer curve. Or if you are, and I'll show you the next example, if you are in the ice business. The ice harvesting business was in the 1800s. This meant that during the winter, Bubba and Junior would go to frozen lakes and ponds and cut blocks of ice. Their idea of improving the technology of ice harvesting was, let's get a bigger saw. Let's get a sharper saw. Let's attach more horses to the thing that's cutting the ice in the lake or the pond. That was their idea of innovation. The next curve in the ice business was the ice factory business. In the ice factory business, people froze water in any city, any time of year. Holy moly. They delivered ice to your house, or you went to the ice factory and bought cubes of ice, blocks of ice. What a significant technological leap. You went from only winter, only in the Northeast, only using a horse and a saw, to now you could go to almost any city, frozen water, any time of year. Holy moly, what a leap forward. The next curve was the refrigerator curve. Now the Iceman didn't have to deliver ice to your house. Now you didn't have to go to the ice factory to buy blocks of ice. Now you had your PC, your personal chiller. The interesting story is that nobody who was an ice harvester became an ice factory, and nobody who became an ice factory became a refrigerator company, and nobody who's a refrigerator company is investing in biotechnology, because most people stay on the same curve. Better saw, more horses, bigger ice factory, more colors of refrigerator. Very few people have the courage or vision to get to the next curve. That's what you need to do if you truly want to be innovative. Don't duke it out on the same curve. Get to the next curve. The fourth thing is what I call roll the dicey. One of the shortcomings of keynote speeches is that a couple days from now, you'll try to remember what happened in this speech. And you'll say, you know what, the main point I remember the guy made is that you should create great stuff. Stuff that jumps curves. Thank God for MySQL bringing me to this conference and getting God to speak, because until I heard him say that, I was going to create crap. And then I came to this conference, and the scales were removed from my eyes. Duh, now I'm supposed to create great stuff. Hallelujah. Just that alone made it worth going to the conference. That's the problem. So I want to give you a drill down version of what defines greatness in a product or a service. The first D is for depth. Great products are deep. This is a no-brainer for this audience, right? MySQL is a deep, deep product. Very deep. Great products are like that. They don't run out of power. You don't buy them, take them home, and then say, oh man, I got to go back to Fry's and get the upgraded version because this doesn't do what I want it to do. Great products are deep. This is a picture of a fanning sandal from Reef. You know what? There are thousands of designs of sandals. Every one of them does the same thing. They protect your feet. This one has twice the functionality. Because if you look at that little metal clip near the midsole where the word Reef is, that metal clip has a second purpose for the sandal. It is to open beer bottles. This sandal has twice the functionality of any other sandal in the world. And Reef, with their just compelling spirit of innovation, have also introduced this new model. It's called a dram. The dram has a container that holds 3 ounces of liquid right underneath the arch of your foot. Admittedly, the TSA might not be too thrilled about this, but it is 3 ounces underneath the 4-ounce limit. Of course, this really means you have to be careful where you walk. But this is an example of a deep product. How do you make your product deep, like this Reef or this dram? The I stands for intelligent. Great products are intelligent. You look at them and you say, wow, somebody was thinking. This is an easy example. This is a Panasonic flashlight. You know, at our house, we have this sort of mismatch. We have flashlights and we have batteries. And the two don't work together. Because over time, the batteries that do work in the flashlights are used and used up and thrown away. So we have this arbitrage situation of we have flashlights that take C cells, but we only have D cells left, for example. Panasonic figured out a solution to this. This flashlight takes 3 sizes of batteries. Triples the probability that you will have the right battery. Somebody was thinking. The C stands for complete. Great products are complete. They are the totality of the experience. It's not just the download. It's also the revisions, it's the support, it's the online forums, it's the developer community. It's not just the car, the physical Lexus. It is the support that you get for buying a Lexus. Great products are complete. Great products are also elegant. This is an iPod Nano with 1 wheel to navigate through all your music collection. There were many other MP3 players before the iPod. Every other one, made by a Japanese manufacturer, had 25 buttons. This one has 1 wheel. And the last E is emotive. Great products are emotive. They generate strong emotions. You love a Harley-Davidson or you hate a Harley-Davidson. You do not feel indifferent to a Harley-Davidson. So a few days from now, I hope you remember when you say, well, guys said create great stuff that jumps curves, that they have to be deep, intelligent, complete, elegant, and emotive. That's what defines greatness. The 5th thing is stolen from Bobby McFerrin. He said, he sang, don't worry, be happy. I believe that revolutionaries and innovators, they have to don't worry, be crappy. This is a picture of a Macintosh 128K. I can look back at it now and tell you that this was a revolutionary product, but it did have elements of crappiness to it. It's $2,500. It had 128K of memory. We thought that was a freaking ocean of memory. 3 times the size of an Apple II. What were people going to do with all that memory? And a 400K floppy drive. What were people going to do with all that storage? Thanks to my efforts, however, there was no software. There was also no hard disk, which is okay, because if you don't have software, what would you copy? There's no slots, no color. It was a piece of crap, but it was a revolutionary piece of crap. And the lesson that I learned is if we had waited for the perfect world of cheap enough RAM, fast enough CPUs, slots, color, full-page displays, all the good stuff, we would have never shipped, and the world would have passed us by. The way it works in technology, just in this room amongst us, let's just be honest, you have to ship and then you test. That's just the way it is. You ship and then you test. Version 1 of a revolution means never having to say you're sorry. That's what it means. I'm not telling you to ship crap, okay? I'm telling you to ship stuff that's jump curves, that's revolutionary, that has elements of crappiness to it. Big difference. The sixth thing is you need to be willing to polarize people. If you are creating something great that's dicey, but it may not be for everybody. When you start off trying to create something for everybody, you inevitably end up with mediocrity. Create something that polarizes people. I'll give you some examples. How many of you have TiVos in this audience? I love TiVo. I love TiVo because I love TV. I'm the only person in California willing to admit that I love TV. I watch 2 hours of TV every day. Every day. My favorite program is Boston Legal because Denny Crane is my hero. I love 24, I love The Unit, I love Friday Night Lights. Basically, I love all the programs that have absolutely no sensibility towards due process. There are people who hate TiVo, advertisers and advertising agencies, because guess what? I watch TV commercials 1 day a year in January. That's it. Other than that, I'm skipping ahead 30 seconds at a time, right? That's the beauty of TiVo. TiVo definitely polarizes people. This is a picture of a Toyota Scion XB. When you look at this car, you can have basically one of two reactions. I'm 52 years old, I have 4 children, I look at this car and I say, well, I won't tell you what I say. First, let's say you're 26-year-old, you're 22-year-old, 23-year-old, all right? You have one golden retriever and a surfboard, skateboard, or snowboard. You look at this car, you say, oh, cool design, very different, I love this car. I look at it, 52-year-old, 4 children, I look at the Toyota Scion XB and I say to myself, Toyota, with the infinite money that you have, how come you hired someone who must have been fired from Volvo to design this car? Because speaking of ice, this is a refrigerator on wheels. The point here is that Toyota was trying to attract not me as a Scion buyer. It was trying to attract a much younger crowd who had at most a golden retriever. The seventh thing is to let 100 flowers blossom. This I stole from Chairman Mao, although I fail to see how we ever implemented this. In the context that I use it, I think that at the start of a revolution, an innovation, you may witness a very interesting thing, which is you design your product, and you have this great marketing plan. You know how you're branding it and positioning it. You know exactly who should use it. And then lo and behold, you ship it, and people who are not your target market start using it. And lots of companies freak out when this happens. My God, all these people are buying our software, and they're not our intended market. Call up Moonbeam, book the Ritz-Carlton, and leave it off-site. Something is wrong. My first piece of advice for you, if you ever see this happen, is take the money. My second piece of advice is ask the people who are buying, why are they buying? Give them more reasons to buy. That's very different than asking the atheists why you don't buy. Give me a reason, I'll fix it and come back to you. Because they will never buy. With Macintosh, you know, we thought we had it all figured out in the mid-80s. Spreadsheet, database, and word processor. That's all a computer had to do back then, right? So we focused on Ashton Tate and Lotus and WordPerfect, and basically we were 0 for 3. The product that saved the Apple computer was Aldus PageMaker. Aldus PageMaker created a field of flowers called desktop publishing. If it wasn't for Aldus PageMaker, I believe Apple would have died. And if Apple died, we'd all be listening to music on Sony Walkman cassette tapes today. PageMaker was a gift from God that saved the Apple computer. I truly do believe that. I believe in God. Put this in your blog. God believes in God. And one of the reasons why God believes in God is there is no other explanation for Apple's continued survival. The eighth thing is stolen from the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers said, burn, baby, burn. What innovators do is churn, baby, churn. I'm telling you it's okay to ship something revolutionary with elements of crappiness to it. I'm not telling you it's okay to stay crappy. You have to go from version 1 to 1.1 to 1.2 to 1.3 to 5.0 to 5.1 to 5.2 to 6.0. Very hard for a revolutionary to do. I think it's the toughest lesson that it ever takes. It's the toughest lesson for a revolutionary to learn. Because part of being a revolutionary is to be in denial. Because when you are trying to jump curves, If you ask most people, they will tell you it can't be done, it shouldn't be done, it isn't necessary. Everything I want to do, I can do from a C prompt. Why would I need a cute little graphics toy with a trash can and a one-button mouse that has no software? So you have to be in denial as a revolutionary when you're creating a revolution. However, once you ship your revolution, then you need to go into evolution. And you need to listen to people. And you need to churn, baby, churn. Again, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir about this, because of any community, you should understand the value of churning. The ninth thing is all the marketing you guys ever need to know. You don't need to get an MBA. You don't need to hire an MBA. Just understand this next graph. The graph has two axes. The vertical axis measures the uniqueness of what you do. The horizontal axis measures the value of what you do. There are four corners to this axis. I will take away the suspense. I will take away the suspense. We're going to end up high and to the right. Because everybody ends up high and to the right. We get 2,500 business plans a year at Garage. Every one of them has a graph like this where they are high and to the right. You should see some of the labels on the axes that we see. We see labels that say, all right, so the vertical axis measures number of ex-Google employees. The horizontal axis measures number of people driving German cars. You should invest in us because we have the most former Google employees who drive German cars. We are high and to the right. Let me go to the other three corners first. The first corner is where you produce something of great value to the customer, but there's lots of competition. In that corner, you can be successful, you can make meaning, you can make money, but it's always about price. Always about price. Not the worst corner, but it's always about price. The next corner is where you create something of no value to the customer, but only you do it. In that corner, you are just... The next corner is even worse, because that's the corner where you create something of no value to the customer, and there's lots of competition doing the same stupid thing. That's the .com corner. This is a picture of dog food. The reason why I use dog food is because dog food personified this. 5-6 years ago, remember there was patent pending, curve jumping, paradigm shifting, open source, new way to sell dog food online. Because fundamentally, dog food distribution is a broken paradigm. We have the horse here. We have Rocky here. We have to get the horse into Rocky's mouth. So we have the horse. We have to kill the horse. Put him in the can at the Purina factory. Get the factory to ship the can to the dog food store. Get the customer to come into the dog food store. Buy the can of dead horse. Take it home. Put it in Rocky's mouth. Such an inefficient thing. We need to disintermediate the stupid pet food store. And if we do that, we can discount pet food 25%. The problem with this theory is that pet food is so heavy that the shipping and handling exceeds the discounts you can give by disintermediating the stupid pet food store. Hence, it was more trouble than it's worth to buy pet food online. But then, thanks to me and other venture capitalists like me, there was Pets.com, MyPets.com, ePets.com, iPets.com, DiscountPets.com, LastMinutePets.com. There are 16 ways to spend more for dog food online than you would have at the dog food store. That's the .com phenomenon. That's the worst corner to be in. So the corner you want to be in is this corner. High and to the right. Unique product, great value. Fandango is one such example for me. As I say, I have 4 kids. We love to go to movies. We want to know before we go that we have a ticket. We also want to not stand in the ticket buying line. Go straight to the admission line. Fandango enables you to buy and print off a ticket at home. The only way you can do it in Northern California. Fandango is high and to the right. Second example, Breitling emergency watch. If you look at the 5 o'clock position of this watch, is a big knob. If you unscrew that knob and pull it out, it puts out an antenna. That antenna broadcasts a signal at 121.5 megahertz, the emergency broadcast signal. Planes for like 5 miles around you will see that signal and call the Coast Guard because it means someone is in real deep trouble. This is not something you do when you take the wrong exit off 101. So if you're a snowboarder, camper, a backpacker, a helicopter skier, this watch literally could save your life. It's a unique watch. This is a smart car. This car is coming to the United States next year. There are tens of thousands of different model cars. Every one of them can park parallel. Only a smart car can park perpendicular. This is the LG kimchi refrigerator. Kimchi is a Korean delicacy. Two things you need to know about kimchi. It needs to ferment to taste better, and it stinks. If you put kimchi in your refrigerator, everything else will stink too. The people at LG made a great refrigerator just for kimchi, at the optimal conditions for kimchi storage. The people at LG have also made a microwave oven for the Middle East. We all have microwave ovens that have dedicated buttons to popcorn. The microwave oven for the Middle East from LG has a dedicated button to shish kebabs, high and to the right. What I'm telling you, if you want to think of it in another way, in political terms, is you need to be like the President of the United States, high and to the right. You know, Martin always brags about answering emails, so when he asked me if I would do this speech, I sent him an email. I said, sure, I want stock options. He never answered that speech. The 10th thing, I have something called Meniere's disease. Meniere's disease has 3 symptoms. You didn't answer, really. It's 3 symptoms. I hope you don't think I forgot. Meniere's disease has 3 symptoms. I think 25,000 shares would be fine. 3 symptoms of Meniere's. I'm losing hearing in this ear. There's a ringing in this ear called tinnitus, and you also have sporadic attacks of dizziness. There's many theories about what causes Meniere's. Excessive caffeine, excessive salt, excessive stress, acoustic neuroma, allergy. Could be any of those things. I have another theory. I'm a venture capitalist. As a venture capitalist, guess what I do? I listen to pitches day in and day out. All these entrepreneurs come in for a 1-hour meeting with 60 slides because they're so eloquent they can rip through a slide on average 1 per minute. Right? Every one of them says we have patent pending, curve jumping, paradigm shifting, new way to disintermediate pet food stores to sell dog food online using open source technology. Every stinking one of them. Every stinking one of them says there are 300 million Americans. 1 in 4 owns a dog. That's 75 million Americans. Each dog eats 2 cans of dog food per day. That's 150 million cans of dog food per day. How hard could it be to just get 1% of that? 1.5 million cans of dog food per day. How hard could that be? Sometimes we get real doozies. We want money to build a geodesic dome over Los Angeles to prevent air pollution. I don't know if it's to prevent air pollution for getting out or getting in, but prevent air pollution. We want money to buy, you love this, we want money to buy Israel, to turn it into an amusement park. Save their shekels, as we say in Japan. Now, a third example, and one of my favorites because it's sort of so tantalizing. I get this guy's business plan. He says, we have this patent pending, curve jumping, paradigm shifting way to save people who are drowning. Drowning, apparently, according to Jupiter and Goldman Sachs, is a growth industry. Because there's more disposable income these days. There are more stupid people named Bubba and Junior buying boats. The more stupid people buy boats, the more people drown. Growth industry, $10 billion by 2010. All we need is to save 1% of those drowning people. Do you realize how successful we'll be? So the problem with drowning, and we already had our partnership discussions with the Coast Guard, is it's very hard to spot Bubba or Junior drowning in the surf. It's dark, windy, raining, lightning, thunder, 10-foot waves. How do we find Bubba or Junior in the water? That's the Coast Guard problem. Poor Kevin Costner, he can't find the guy drowning. So we have this patent pending, curve jumping, paradigm shifting, new technology to fix this. And I'm thinking, oh, this is really cool. This is some kind of GPS chip. The chip talks to the satellite beams the location down to Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner's in the Coast Guard helicopter. Within 5 centimeters, he can see, there's Bubba, there he is. Let's drop the guy there and pick him up. I say, all right, so show me your technology. And he hands me, I'm not making this up, a roll of red plastic tape. And I say, what is this? He says, well, if you're drowning, you wrap this around your wrist and you throw it out. And it creates this long 10-yard trail of red plastic tape. Now Kevin Costner can see Bubba because that's where the tape is. And I'm having this freaking out-of-body experience. I'm saying, I'm not thinking, oh, I know what this is. This is like candid camera. They're trying to say all these pieces. And I'm going to say, which VC? He says, oh yeah, this is very interesting. Why don't you get back to us? Which one is going to just throw you out? I'm thinking, what should I do? Should I be a mensch? Should I throw him out? What should I do? I'm not making this up. So, the bottom line is there any wonder that there's a ringing in my head, I'm going deaf and I get dizzy because I have to hear these plans all the time. So in order to prevent an epidemic of Meniere's disease, I came up with the 10, 20, 30 rule of pitching. Because innovators need to pitch. You need to pitch for money, you need to pitch for partnerships, you need to pitch for sales, you need to pitch for recruiting, whatever it is. Life is a pitch. The optimal number of slides in a PowerPoint presentation is 10. That's all the human mind can handle, 10. You should be able to give those slides in 20 minutes. You may have 1 hour, but you know what? Not all of you are using a laptop that's going to hook up to the projector at work in the first few minutes. Many of you will need 40 minutes to make it work. I saw this in your setup. You want to have 40 minutes of time to have discussion. You want to rip through your slides. You do not want to go through 60 slides in 60 minutes because it cannot be done. And then the optimal font size is 30 points. It's 30 points because most of the time you'll be pitching to people who look like that. Okay? As a rule of thumb, if you don't like this, it's too dogmatic, I'll give you a rule of thumb. Find out who the oldest person is in your audience, divide his or her age by 2. 60 divided by 2 is 30. That's how I got 30. If you're pitching to 16-year-olds to raise venture capital, God bless you, use the 8.5. Generally speaking, 30 points. And then the 11th thing, as a bonus to my friends in this community, because I truly do love this community. Many of our companies are using MySQL. Don't let the bozos grind you down, because the bozos will try to grind you down. 2 kinds of bozos in the world. One bozo is slovenly, disgusting body odor, pocket protector, dandruff, just a loser of a person. That person says can't be done, shouldn't be done, isn't necessary. All of you will have the ability to say, you know what, you're a loser. Why should I let a loser like you limit what I try to do? That's not the dangerous bozo. The dangerous bozo is svelte. Dangerous bozo dresses in all black, drives a German car, has a Breitling or a Rolex watch, stays at the Ritz-Carlton Half Moon Bay, rich and famous. You think, oh, rich and famous. That, therefore, parses to smart. That is a big leap. That is a big leap. So this bozo says cannot be done, shouldn't be done, isn't necessary, and you might listen to him. So I want to show you some dangerous bozosity. I think there is a world market for maybe 5 computers. Thomas Watson allegedly said this in 1943. A world market for 5 computers. I have 5 Macintoshes in my house right now. I have all the computers in the world that he anticipated in my house. This telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. The device is inherently of no value to us. Western Union wrote this in 1876. It inherently has no value to us. Now, to be fair to Western Union, in 1876, if you had the first telephone, who would you call? But still, what do you think their strategic MBA direction was in 1877? Well, why don't we expand our market potential? Why don't we teach everybody in America the Morse code? How hard could that be? I think that Western Union should be what PayPal is today. It makes sense, right? Transfer of money, whether it's by telegraph or internet, what's the difference? It's the transfer of money. Makes sense, right? But you know what? If you have to go, if we start with telegraph, then telephone, then internet. It's very hard to go from telegraph to internet if you write off telephony in the middle. You know, that chasm is just too big. This is bozosity. There is no reason why anyone would want a computer in their home. Ken Olsen, founder of DEC, said this. He was a stud. He was a great entrepreneur. Revolutionized the mainframe business. He was so successful in the mini computer business that he could not embrace the personal computer business. Imagine if Jobs or Woz saw Ken Olsen and told them about personal computers. And Ken Olsen had said, well, there's no reason why anyone would want a computer in your house. You want to balance your checkbook, drive back to the office, use Quick and running on a mini computer. What's the problem? An Apple computer may not have ever started. You cannot let these bozos grind you down. And this is my last example of bozosity. It is too far to drive, and I don't see how it can be a business. I said this with Michael Moritz, the Michael Moritz of Sequoia asked me, would you like to interview for the CEO position of our company that we just funded? And I said, you know, Michael, I looked at it. I don't see how this company can be a business, and right now, I just don't want to drive an hour each way. We were living in San Francisco. I don't want to drive 2 hours a day for a company that I'm not convinced could be a business. I don't want to even interview. So which company is it? The company's Yahoo. So work with me here, okay? So let's say I took the interview. Let's say I got the job, all right? And then let's say that I would have gotten probably 10% of Yahoo as the first adult. I would have gotten 10% of Yahoo. I would have been a 4-year vesting schedule. The option strike price would have been 10 cents. You know, back then option pricing was easy. It's 10 cents. You sell for $500. You make $499.90. None of this bullshit about, well, should we strike the price on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday? Should we have a fake board meeting to give you the benefit of hindsight on the option price? There's no option backdating scammer. You know, 10 cents, 500. Hard not to make money. So let's be conservative. Let's say 2 years into the vesting schedule, I top out. Peter Principle rears its ugly head. They had this emergency board meeting. They say, you know, guy, we need someone who can take Yahoo as CEO to the next level. Someone who can go to New York and stand toe-to-toe with Barry Diller. Someone can go to Australia and stand toe-to-toe with Rupert Murdoch. Someone who can go down to LA and deal with the talent. We need someone else as CEO. So your last day is today as CEO of Yahoo. And I would have said very calmly, you know what, this is California. I'm a minority. I'm an Asian American. You cannot fire me. You cannot fire me. There will be a wrongful termination lawsuit on your desk this afternoon. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, turn on to CNN or CNBC because there will be live footage from the headquarters of Yahoo showing 50 little Japanese ladies protesting the wrongful termination. You cannot do this. They would have said, time out, guy, relax, remain calm. What would it take for you to go away quietly? And I would have said, well, why don't you just accelerate my vesting? Give me all 4 years. And they would have agreed. So by my calculation, this response cost me $2 billion. $2 billion here, $2 billion there. And after a while, you don't need to make free speeches in Santa Clara anymore. So I've thought about this for 12 years. Why was I so stupid? And I've come to this conclusion. For the love of my wife, to be there as my 4 children were growing up, I made the absolute right decision. Not to drive 2 hours every day, working 80 hours a week to make Yahoo a success. I did the right thing for my family. This is where you're supposed to clap. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. This wonderful, heartwarming explanation only can cover 1 billion. It's the second billion that pisses me off. The second billion means that I too was a bozo. I had Ken Olsen disease. I was successful in the personal computer curve. I could not fully embrace the internet curve. When I looked at Yahoo, I used the old venture capital test. Proven team? Yeah, sure. Jerry and David, they worked at the Stafford bookstore. They're proven management. You know, proven technology. Yeah, sure. They're collecting their favorite websites. That's really hard. That's patent pending curve jumping technology. And proven business model. Yeah, sure. They're going to sell ads to ARPANET. No problem. The point here is, don't let the bozos grind you down. Especially the successful ones. Because they are the ones least likely to appreciate the next curve. This is my last slide. My blog is at blog.guykawasaki.com. If you want a copy of this presentation, just send an email to gene@garage.com. And finally, I love this little company from Calgary called iStock Photo because I use a lot of stock photography in my presentation. For example, if you'd like to illustrate the concept of stupid people, you go up to iStock Photos, type in the word stupid, you'll find like 800 pictures of stupid-looking people. $2, high-res, royalty-free. You want to illustrate the concept of letting 100 flowers blossom? Type in flowers, you'll find 5,000 pictures of flowers. You need to help this company right now because Calgary was just eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs. And the city's in a state of depression. Help our stock market. So to sum up, I'll just tell you, the art of innovation starts off by the desire to make meaning, to change the world, to make the world a better place. You need a mantra to truly define the meaning you're going to make. You need to set your perspective right. I'm not doing things 10% better or 15% better, but doing 10 times better. Jumping to the next curve. Don't worry, be crafty. If you are 10 times better, if you are the next curve, don't worry that you have a flu flawless. Ship it and then test it. But then you have to churn, maybe churn. You do need to fix it. This it should be dicey, deep, intelligent, complete, elegant, and emotive. It needs to be polarizing to people. People love it or people hate it. It needs to be like George W. Bush, high and to the right. Very valuable, very unique. But above all, if I can leave you with one message, do not let the bozos grind you down. Because if they say it can't be done and it shouldn't be done, it doesn't mean that you should not do it. Doesn't mean that at all. And the only way you will truly know is if you ignore the bozos and you do try it. And that is the key to innovation. Thank you very much.